Hey again, everybody. It's Seth, aka Milner Stone. And today, I've got another episode of PlayStation Portable versus Retroid Pocket 3. And this one, I'm going to be showcasing 6 racing games for you. Let's get to it. First up is Gran Turismo. Let me run you through the settings real quick. I am using the Vulkan renderer. OpenGL does not work as well in this game. You can use buffered rendering, 2x resolution, and you can look at everything else. So the first thing you notice is, as usual, the color balance on the screen of the Retroid Pocket 3 is much better than the original PlayStation. Other than that, I think both of them handle this game really well. I didn't really notice any frame drops on the Retroid Pocket 3 or the PSP. But of course, it just looks better being rendered at double the original resolution. I never said I was the best Gran Turismo player in the world, and right there is proof. Although, to be fair, it is easy to get distracted when you're checking out the frame rates and things like that, wanting to make sure the game is running well. Or at least, that's my excuse. Alright, enough Gran Turismo. Let's check out another game called MACH. This one was requested by Bruno Jenso in the comments, so shout out Bruno to you. Looks like a cool game. I hope you like it. Just the general design of this game makes the color issues with the PSP screen not nearly as obvious as they were on Gran Turismo, so that's nice. But still, it's playing perfectly at double resolution on the Retroid Pocket 3, and you're not going to be able to do that on the PSP. Wow, just check out that faux lens flare effect. It's like I'm in a J.J. Abrams movie.
Final lap. first place.
Hey, awesome. A new record. Now let's take a look at the settings. I'm using the Vulkan renderer again for this one. Buffered rendering, 2x resolution. You get the idea. Check them out for yourself. You can see all the settings I'm using. Next up is MotorStorm Arctic Edge, which was requested by Craven Marigold in the comments. This seems to be one that's difficult to emulate. You do have to set it to OpenGL and absolutely have to have buffered rendering on. But look what happens if we set simulate block transfer effects and try to play this game. It's not good. At least certainly not at 2x resolution. Yeah, that was a disaster. So let's turn that off. Notice I still have frame skip set to 1. So if we hop back in the game, at least now it's running reasonably well, but you're only getting 15 frames per second, which is definitely not ideal. Unfortunately, I've tried everything, and if you want double resolution, this is just what you seem to have to do. Definitely do not try the Vulkan renderer. It's even worse. Now, another option is to turn frame skip off and set the resolution at 1x. You can still set the display resolution at 2x, which helps with things like the 2D elements on the screen. And now, jump back in the game. It does maintain pretty stable, close to 30 frames per second. And to be honest, playing the game on the PSP itself, there are definitely moments where the frame rate chugs. So it seems that it stressed out the original hardware as well, at least stock, not overclocked. The only real downside to this is that while it might look alright in this video, when you've got that big screen that close, you do notice when you're playing PSP games at 1x resolution, they look kind of grainy. That does it for MotorStorm. Let's take a look now at Ridge Racer 2. Here are the settings, and you can really go crazy with this one. OpenGL, buffered rendering, double resolution, filtering, whatever you want. This game can handle it. The Retroid Pocket 3 can definitely handle it and look great doing it. Also, feel free to enjoy some of those long PSP loading screens. PSP loads way slower than the Retroid Pocket 3 does.
3, 2, 1, go! 3 laps to go.
Immediately you'll notice the blue tint on the PSP, but more importantly, this game has a lot of frame rate chugging. There are moments when you pass cars or take corners that the game really seems to just grind a bit and slow down. If you're paying careful attention, you'll definitely see a lot of that in this video. Meanwhile, Retroid Pocket 3 is very stable, almost never dips below 60 frames per second. Don't record audio while you drive, it causes accidents. Gotta be honest, I'm a sucker for all things Ridge Racer. Just recording this video really makes me want to drop everything else and just play this game all the way through. Although, I think Rage Racer is still my favorite in the series.
Ready for nitro. Whoa!
Okay, that's enough Ridge Racer for now. I'll have to play more later. Let's take a look at Sega Rally Revo. Typical settings for this one: OpenGL, buffered rendering, 2x resolution, 16x filtering. You get the idea. Let's jump into the game. This is another one where, thanks to the color palette of the game, the PSP doesn't suffer so bad with that blue tint. It's not nearly as noticeable in this game as it is in some others. My biggest issue with this game has nothing to do with the Retroid Pocket 3. It's just the fact that they made a Sega Rally game that only runs at 30 frames per second, which annoys me. Sega Rally should always be 60 frames per second. Again, we see proof of how dangerous it is to be distracted while you're driving. Based on the results here, it should be easy to realize I played first on the Retroid Pocket 3 and then on the PlayStation Portable, and the results speak for themselves. Finally, let's take a look at Wipeout Pure. The one key change you want to make is turn off buffered rendering. You will lose shadows under your hovercraft, but I think that's a small price to pay for 60 frames per second. Everything else looks standard, 2x resolution. Let's go. Before the race even starts, you see that obvious PSP blue tint. You might be asking yourself, why Wipeout Pure and not Wipeout Pulse? Well, that's just my mistake. If you're watching Bruno Jenso, sorry about that. I tested both, and then I recorded this one, but the settings are the same. If you turn off buffered rendering, everything's good to go on Wipeout Pulse. And on the plus side, Wipeout Pure is still an absolutely beautiful game, and it looks great on the Retroid Pocket 3 at double resolution, and it's also silky smooth, which I can't completely say for the PlayStation Portable actually. There are definitely moments where the frame rate slows down a bit on the original hardware.
Mines. Mines. Energy critical. Disruption field. Missile.
This is another example of how much better you can do playing the same race the second time back to back. And I was much faster on the PSP. Oh well. All right, that does it for another episode of PlayStation Portable versus Retroid Pocket 3. This one focused exclusively on racing games. You notice my battery's dying, so I guess it's just time to finish. I really hope you liked this one, and as always, leave some comments. Let me know what you want me to try next. Happy to do it. Happy to share. If you liked it, please do comment, subscribe, like. It helps a ton. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep gaming.